Hey everyone! Imagine being thousands of miles from land, surrounded by the endless ocean and yet facing starvation. Sounds crazy, right? This was the reality for many sailors centuries ago. Despite the abundant marine life at their fingertips, they paradoxically avoided eating fish. Today, we're diving into this curious behavior to understand why sailors of the past often chose to starve. Back in the age of exploration, think Christopher Columbus and Ferdinand Magellan, sailors embarked on epic voyages across uncharted waters in search of new lands and riches. These brave souls set sail on wooden ships for months or even years at a time. Unfortunately, their knowledge of preserving food was very primitive. Without refrigerators or freezers, keeping food fresh was a constant battle. Sailors relied on rations like hardtack, a super hard biscuit, and salted meat to survive their long journeys. These voyages spanned the vast oceans, where land was but a distant memory, and fresh food was an unattainable luxury. To grasp their strange eating habits, we must first step into their world, where harsh environmental conditions and limited technologies defined the daily experience. Aboard those ships, meals were far from gourmet. The staple diet consisted of non-perishable foods like hardtack, which was often so tough it could break a tooth or two, and heavily salted meat. Fresh provisions were essentially non-existent after the initial weeks of a journey. Diets also included dried legumes and grains, but they lacked variety and nutrition. Scurvy, a disease caused by vitamin C deficiency, was rampant, making sailors weak and sick. Without fresh fruits and vegetables, maintaining a balanced diet was nearly impossible. Despite the endless ocean around them, fish wasn't on the menu, and you might wonder why anyone would avoid the swimming smorgasbord right beneath their boats. So, why didn't they eat fish? Well, for starters, fish was thought of as a poor man's food, something many European sailors weren't too keen on. Fish required unfamiliar preparation methods and was susceptible to quick spoilage, making it less appealing. Beyond practicality, sailors held superstitions about the sea. Some fish were considered bad luck. Fishing in the middle of the ocean wasn't as simple as dropping a line and reeling in dinner. Lacking the proper equipment, sailors had to rely on makeshift tools and their wits to catch fish. Stormy seas and unpredictable weather often turned fishing into a dangerous gamble. The task was labor-intensive, taking precious time and energy. The effort involved in catching, preparing, and storing fish, a process fraught with inefficiencies, discouraged many from pursuing this potentially life-saving food source. If you're battling waves or unfurling sails, spending hours fishing wasn't exactly ideal. One striking example comes from the logs of the famous Captain Cook. On his long voyages across the Pacific, his crew was known to face dire hunger, but as time sailed on, so did sailors' habits. With the advent of better fishing technology and cultural understanding, the tides began to turn. As navigational and fishing equipment evolved, fish became a staple. Smarter seagoers learned to embrace the vast pantry of the ocean. New preservation techniques like pickling and smoking helped keep fish edible longer. So there you have it, our grand tour of the paradoxical world where sailors, faced with starvation, often turned away from fish. While their choices might seem baffling now, they were a product of the times. Cultural perceptions, technological limits, and practical challenges defined their decisions at sea, despite the seemingly endless bounty beneath their ships. Well, that's a wrap on this wild sea tale. Thanks for joining the journey today. If you enjoyed this voyage through history, give our video a thumbs up. Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for more fascinating nautical stories.